Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to another show of Inspirate Business, a show that's here to inspire you, to empower you, and to enlighten you. And as you know, each week we have someone very special, someone who's making a major impact in their domain of influence. And we try to find these special people, sometimes very unassuming, doing amazing work in their domains. Today we have, as I say, someone who is, for me, doing work that is tremendous beyond our borders. Pardon the pun. He is involved with the Gift of the Givers, an international organization today, as we know, proudly South African, which has done amazing work in troubled areas around the world, helping people as well as on our continent, in our country. We were just speaking before the break and before the show started around some of the work that Gift of the Givers do. But he's also an accomplished medical practitioner, somebody that works very strongly and very closely with health related issues in the emergency side and disaster management of health. Also, somebody who's got an academic background, who has done his bachelor's, who has done his master's, and is currently doing his PhD. Welcome to the Inspirate Business Show. It is an absolute pleasure to have you here. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ahmed Bham, welcome.
Wa alaikum salam. Thanks for having me, Yusuf.
And it's an absolute pleasure. I see you donning the gift of the givers, and that has become so synonymous. It's an international brand now. And
It is. It's really gone transcend beyond our borders.
yes, and you were saying you were involved since around 2005. You're on the executive. You've worked very closely with obviously the famous founder of Gift of the Givers, Imtiaz Suleiman. I mean, many people talking about Imtiaz for president. You know him, on a very personal level as well. But we all see the persona. People that know you in the health space. You're just about to embark, I think tomorrow, with the Special Olympics team as a medical practitioner.
Yes. So I've been involved with Gift of the Givers since 2005. Our first mission during that was to the Pakistan earthquake, and it's that particular mission that really I learned a lot about myself on that mission, if I put it that way. And that's Alhamdulillah shaped us to where we are today. And if I can just share a snippet from that, where I learned a lot about myself. So we were based at the mountain. During the earthquake, as you know, Pakistan was a massive earthquake. It was a 7.8 magnitude. It really impacted all the villages up on the Kashmiri border in the Sudan Gali area. And we were the fourth team that responded. Our medical teams were there. They were doing already set up an amazing hospital in Rawalpindi and doing amazing work to assist. Over 250,000 people died during that earthquake. We were based in the mountains, and what we used to do is we used to go to villages where no one's been before, and we used to look for survivors or injured people, and then we'd refer them to our hospital in Rawalpindi via helicopter services.
Mm.
And I arrived at this one village, Yusuf, and what was amazing of this village is, in that Kashmiri area, you have these huge kind pine trees and stuff. Now, a 7.8
Mm.
magnitude really destroys everything. We arrived at this village, and coming to this village, there was this one house. It was made of mud, and it was made of these certain types of twigs and stuff. And it was just distinct, it catches your eye. In a whole disaster, everything is flat, and you see this house.
Mm.
And the cracks of the earthquake went about maybe 200 meters before the house, it stopped. And on the other side of the house, maybe 200 meters after that, it
Mm.
continued. And it was just the old man living there.
Mm.
And through my translator, I went to him and I said, "Look, uncle, we're here to help from South Africa. Or, are you injured and this and that?" And he looked at me and he was just chatting in the language through my translator. And he says, "Look, I want to tell this youngster something, but he mustn't feel offended."
Mm.
So I looked at my translator. He was also a bit confused. He says, what's happening? So I asked him, look, first I asked him, how did you feel the earthquake? Like, how come is your house standing?
Mm.
So he says, my son, I felt nothing.
Mm.
In a 7.8, I felt nothing. When I came out, I seen everything destroyed. So I was so overwhelmed and I didn't know where I am. But I'm fine, nothing has happened to me. But I want to tell you something. So I said, okay, tell me. And he said, you're very arrogant. So I'm
Mm.
thinking to myself, came all the way, climbed up this mountain. A man is telling me I'm arrogant.
Mm.
Maybe did he collapse? Did he have a head injury or something, And he says, no, my son, don't take it in a bad way. Your approach was very wrong.
Mm.
In life, what you need to do is when you come to people, you need to be humble. You need to understand your purpose in life is to come and assist people.
Mm.
And the thing is, you're not assisting them, you're assisting yourself. These lessons you see
Mm.
is not for us, it's for yourself. And if you want to come in that arrogant nature and think you are someone,
Mm.
don't do this kind of work. If you come in, you do this kind of work, learn about yourself. Learn about this is the lessons Allah needs to teach you for the rest of your life. Because if you're not going to do that and learn lessons from all of this for you, this is the most important lesson is for you.
Mm.
If you don't do this work. And then obviously after this, he asked me, oh, how's Hansikron here? So,
He
that
was
was
still
just,
alive at that time. Eh?
he was still alive at that
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
So that was just,
Wow.
what he told me, and it came so from his heart.
Mm.
And that I will never ever forget till
Mm.
today.
Mm.
And he just told me
What a
that,
profound story. I mean,
what
a life lesson
alhamdulillah.
that has taken you, I guess, in every journey that you've gone on since, is that you do it for yourself. What a powerful lesson there is in that. We always think that because we probably more privileged or have more, and then when you go and give, you come from that space of maybe that arrogant space,
Exactly.
right?
Unfortunately, sometimes, and I mean it in the best ways,
Mm.
we sometimes may be amazing in business, or we're good in philanthropy, or we've achieved academically masters and doctorates and
Mm.
professorships
Mm.
and everything. But we lose the aspect of empathy,
Mm.
humbleness. We don't realize where we come from. And that one profound teaching that we have is what our spiritual teacher, especially the gift of the giver spiritual teacher, taught us. And he instructed Imtiaz that profound statement: things are done through you and not by you. The
Mm.
day you think something is done by you, leave humanitarian work
You're
or
merely an
leave
agent,
things.
right? Where Allah is
We're
using
merely a
you.
tool and we're merely an
Yes.
agent. And we
Yes.
just must be so fortunate Allah is using us to be able to do
Ahmed,
that.
now people know you. You're all around the world. You work very closely with the current Minister of Health and previous ministers as a deputy director in the department. And we'll talk a lot about your career and all your experience. There must be so many stories. I think we can do shows and shows around it. But let's just talk about where it started, right? Where do you come from? How was it growing up? With your parents. What was
Yeah.
that like?
So I grew up in a small town called Ottership,
Okay.
and not many people will
Where's
know
that?
that town. It's between Zeerust and Mafeking in the
Okay.
Northwest Province. Yeah.
All right.
Good small farming town with one tar road,
Right.
30 speed bumps, and 9 street lights. So,
Too many for
so
South
you could
Africa.
see how what amazing town
Yeah.
it was. But growing up there, Alhamdulillah, my dad had a general dealer that side of the world, and we started off there. My mom was also there, very humanitarian as well, used to contribute a lot to serving people and do what she could or so. And at the age of 9 years old, my mom passed away in a very unfortunate accident, and
Inna
we
lillahi.
lost her at that time, in the young age or so.
Allah grant her
Um,
Jannah. Ameen.
Shukran, man. And just that 9 years spending with her, I always say in that 9 years, I can remember everything she done,
Mm.
and she shaped and contributed a lot to me,
Mm.
to where I am. And Alhamdulillah, she inspires me every day. And I think of her every single day, of the words she used to tell us when we were kids, believe in Allah, read these things, always be humble, always be kind. when she used to go out at that small age, she used to take us, and we used to give food, and we used to give to everyone who we could assist, especially the most vulnerable. But you remember all that. I was so shocked at 9 years old. I can still remember all of that. Then I did my primary school in Zeerust, Indian primary school, it was known back in the day. And then from there, I finished my matric as well at the worst school, Zeerust. My mom passed away also just in '94, before the elections
Oh, just
in
before
May.
that.
Just yeah.
Okay, I have to cut you off there. This intriguing story of Ahmed Bham. We've already come to the end of this first segment. There's so much more. I'm sure you are as excited as I am just to tap into this wealth of experience, worldly experience, going to various parts of the world and doing it with humility. That's the powerful lesson we've just gotten here. Catch you after the break. Welcome back to Inspirate Business. And on our red hot couch, we have none other than Azhar Bham, who's been sharing with us a profound story through his expeditions with the Gift of the Givers, and a very, very powerful lesson. I mean, something that I just, at this tender age, also picked up is that when you do what you do it with humility. It's all for yourself. Not when you want to help somebody, you think you're helping the other person. It's about helping yourself. And that must have been something that you've taken to various parts, and you've been to various parts of the world, right? You were talking about the Pakistan earthquake. That was your first expedition with Imtia Suleiman. You're on the executive of Gift of the Givers. I assume this is all voluntary work.
Yeah, no. Yusuf, that's all my voluntary work that I do on a voluntary capacity.
Right? You also,
Alhamdulillah, Allah has given us the opportunity to give back and
mm.
chosen us to do it this way, man.
Now, you did say your mom, who you lost at a young age, you were 9, but you remember everything and all the rearing that you got from her and the lessons you got from her.
No, those are important aspects, and it also highlighted the importance of mothers
Mm,
as well as fathers.
mm.
But the importance of them, and I always tell a lot through my career as I progressed and got into emergency medicine and so and so. I've also gone a lot of time to spend with kids, especially also with geriatric.
Mm,
And I always, my lesson is always spend time with children, listen to them today's time. We've got all
mm,
these social medias and everything. Yes, it's good to have it and use it for the right tools, but our old, we're not taking care of our old anymore.
mm,
We're forgetting that we're going to be old as well.
mm,
And you see that in our sector. You see the abuse the
mm,
old are undergoing. You see the abuse our kids are undergoing, especially the most vulnerable, and you see that. Also, it's also important to come back to that is also whatever you do, be the best at what you do.
mm.
Don't compromise. If you want to help someone, give him the same item you'd use at home or better. It
Isn't that
doesn't
a
mean
prophetic principle?
that's the way to
Mm,
actually, and that's a prophetic principle.
mm,
So, with that, Alhamdulillah, it shaped me as well through all the lessons and all the people who've contributed in my life to actually fulfill my dreams, Alhamdulillah. It's been a huge, what can I say, not a huge journey, interesting journey.
mm.
A lot of obstacles, a lot of things to overcome, a lot of lessons that we all have learned. But Alhamdulillah, it's been good lessons if you've taken it
So
in those
you
lessons.
you you matriculate at worst school, Afrikaans school in in
In Zeerust,
in
yeah.
Zeerust, the northwest province,
The
that on the
Northwest, yeah.
border of Botswana, right?
Yeah.
You then do a
So,
bachelor's degree at.
so how it happened during that time, obviously, we were the first people to also go to the high school, that apartheid era
Yes,
ended or so.
yes.
And through that, once my mom passed away,
And you did say she
I
just passed away before the
just
advent of
prior
the election.
to,
Yeah,
yeah, the elections.
yeah.
And a paramedic actually who attended the accident scene got to know me really well. And
Mm.
over the years, he used to come and visit me in our small town,
So
Ottersworth.
he was there at the
He
accident.
was there at the accident scene,
Okay.
with us at the accident scene. And then what happened
You were
is
in the car with your
I
mom.
was there, yeah.
Okay.
And when what happened is he got to speak to me and he got to know me. And he used to just come and visit me, and we shared a good bond. He sadly passed away a few years ago, and he was also played a huge part in my life. And through that, he used to take me in his emergency vehicle, and we used to do first aid and things. And then I kind of say the bug bit, and I said, you know what? Let me look at this into a career. So I went to do a basic ambulance attendant course in Potchefstroom in 2000. And soon as I done the course, I got employed by the Northwest Department of Health in Mafeking, and then got transferred to Zeerust, you know. And over that time, obviously, we didn't have the opportunities to go to universities. There wasn't bachelor's degrees for EMS or emergency or an ambulance staff or so and so, you know. And over the years, then I did the short courses, which led up then obviously to the degree and going and progressing in my career in this way. But also, very one important point, maybe Yusuf, is the stigmatization when you look at our kids, if I put it that way. I'm talking from experience in that way. When I joined the emergency services at that young age of 19 years old, at that time, other kids were maybe playing, or their parents could afford them to go universities or so and so. But you were already dealing in life and death situations. You were already seeing certain medical conditions in your community you grew up, and in the outskirts, in the most vulnerable. And like I laugh, 2 o'clock in the morning, you'll be delivering a baby in the back of an ambulance at 19 years old. You'd come back and you'd do this and that. But the stigmatization that I always moved away was, oh, this guy's got no job, he's an ambulance driver. And
it's seen as a
low category. So and unfortunately, environments we come, or our people or society looks at it. No, he has to be a doctor, he has to be a lawyer, he needs to be an accountant, blah blah blah. That's perceived to be, the best in things. But it's not that. You actually kill that drive in a person and kill that motivation in kids. And that's why I've inspired, I won't say inspired, but I've chatted to a lot of kids that want to become policemen, who want to join the military, who want to be a nurse, who wants to be in ambulance. And that, I hope that shift has shaped them to where we
we
are
should
today.
be encouraging
We should be encouraging.
our kids to get involved in all
Exactly.
these humanitarian
Humanitarian starts at
positions,
all the
right?
basic stuff like this. So that was for me. It's improved a lot. But back in my day, it was what's this guy doing now? He wants to drive ambulance or so and so. And over the years, we progressed, studied. I've moved from Zeerust, where I was the operational, to a shift leader, to a station officer, to a regional manager in the area. Furthered my studies in a diploma, and then I moved to Clarksdorp. I was seconded to the Northwest Province Emergency Medical Services College, and there I lectured and I in rescue and medical aspects. And then I furthered my studies and did my Bachelor in Health Science degree at the University of Johannesburg, and then went on to the
So you're
Masters.
currently doing your PhD?
I'm currently enrolled to do my PhD now in public health at the moment, And from there, I'm just busy with another master's as well in terms of disaster risks sciences as well. And looking
So isn't this so inspiring? I mean, viewers watching here and youngsters watching there, you can do whatever you want to. It doesn't have to be the traditional, careers that what your parents have like conditioned you to do. The typical lawyer, doctor, accountant type of thing. And here is somebody that now you are involved in policy making in public health with the national department. You were saying the cholera outbreak, you quite involved in that as well.
So I left 2018 from the Northwest, and I got appointed at the National Department of Health in the Directorate Emergency Medical Services and
there must be very few people in that segment.
So it's just basically myself employed as disaster medicine, and then my colleague that was employed on the EMS or so. And when I got employed, I'm involved in oversight in terms of looking at all international events that take place in this country from a health perspective and a health security point of view. So I'm involved in a lot of the security cluster things, which I can't chat about, obviously, as well.
The BRICS Summit, then you'll be involved in things like
so
that.
in all of that, World Cup, BRICS Summit things.
Okay.
But then looking at systems within the country because we signatories to the international health regulation.
Mm.
So COVID, for example, we got activated when COVID just started. And because we signatories to the IHR, together our unit and our Department of Health form all the COVID policies. I was fortunate to get chosen to fly to Wuhan to go repatriate our South African citizens and spend the two
That
weeks.
original
The
epicenter.
epicenter, yeah, we were on the plane that went to fetch
Oh,
them,
is it?
landed in Polokwane, and I spent 2 weeks with those repatriated South Africans at the Ranch Hotel when we were there. But in that, prior to that, policy is going to look at quarantine zones and all of that for any public health
Mm.
emergencies. Subsequent to that, I'm involved with risk assessments for public health for the country, with the WHO and all other stakeholders that my portfolio within the National Department of Health goes. But on that, also overseeing emergency services. A minister has appointed me on the Health Professions Council of South Africa, so I serve on the council as well as the chair on my board for education and training in various aspects. And so it's opened up a lot of doors in terms of that, but also a lot of exposure and experience
Mm.
to all these other aspects in terms of public health. So I'm a very focused government public health person. I've had numerous opportunities to join the private sector abroad and here, but I'm still too related to government. I'm still too.
Is it the African roots, I guess, in terms of just serving and helping, and maybe that's the gift that your mom has
Yeah,
given you in just in terms of serving.
I think Yusuf, that's it. Eh? It's just
Mm.
for me. I feel, and this is just me, respect to everyone else, in terms of it's just I feel in the public health sector, I'm assisting the people I need to assist, that I need
Mm.
to learn to feed my soul, to be
Mm.
with the most
Wow.
vulnerable for me. I'm the most happy.
Mm.
So that's why a lot of times I just to be clinically still, I do some volunteering and fly for certain helicopter services or give back in that way,
That's all
just so that
volunteering
I
work.
can
Yeah.
clinically give back in that way, man.
Mm.
As well as going on this trip, just working. We were chatting earlier
Mm.
in the show, working with the special needs kids,
Yeah.
looking at the ability, these
Well,
kids.
we want to talk about that, the trip that you're just about to embark on and working with special needs kids. We've come to the end of this segment. Let's explore further. I hope you enjoying it as much as I am. It's just absolutely intriguing listening to you, Ahmed, every word. I'll catch you after the break. Welcome back to Inspirate Business, where we're here to inspire, to empower, and to enlighten you. And we have on our red hot couch, sponsored by Aza Collective, Ahmed Bham from the National Department of Health on the emergency and disaster management side. I've just learned so much from this last two segments, the aspect of humility, the aspect of serving. You have so many opportunities, you were saying, all around the world, especially as a health practitioner today, especially since COVID. I was just saying that I think the health segment has really become in vogue today because of COVID, right? I mean, people are so much respected now, I think, more than ever. If there's one positive that's come out of the pandemic, I remember sitting in Melrose Arch at the time, just think after the pandemic, and you see somebody in their like health practitioner attire.
Mm,
And before you just like overlook them and they walk in. As they walk, everyone was turning around because you realize your life are in the hands of yourselves. But something that must be amazing is, or I always find intriguing, is you must have experienced as a paramedic involved in disaster some amazing stories. And I mean, also some traumatic experience. Now, emotionally, psychologically, how does that affect you? I have a very good doctor friend, one of the top pulmonologists in the country, and he was saying he had a paramedic friend. They just come back from somewhere, and like uh, they were working together, and he had taken his life. And I think he sent a message to his. I think he just got to it. It was just too
mm.
much. Uh, what do you have that allows you? Because you've got such an infectious personality, right? And what makes you able to deal with this type of work?
No, you spot on. COVID has really changed away a lot in how everyone views frontline workers as well,
Mm,
and the sacrifices that
mm,
they have underwent in all aspects,
mm,
as well as it's important to recognize that, and also from the cleaner in the hospital
mm,
right up to the super specialist,
mm,
all of them contributed so much and put their lives at risk so that they could serve others.
mm,
You know,
mm,
what other aspect can you put into that, or words can you put into that?
mm,
And also, it showed us mental health awareness is
mm,
becoming such a huge problem. Depression, anxiety. I mean, during COVID, many stories. Besides the losing of your loved ones, people lost their businesses, they
mm,
lost their home.
mm,
I mean, this thing changed people who were having three, four cars at home to having nothing,
mm,
who had to ask for food parcels or so like that. And that takes a lot on a person. It takes you back
mm.
to being to look at different aspects of or we always follow that Maslow's hierarchy of
Yes,
needs, and
yes,
we
yes.
everyone knows that, and we
Mm,
go and we want to achieve this. Now it brings you back again,
of
where your
course.
basics are removed again, and
Yes,
that's a
that's
problem.
mm,
But the thing is, we've now also start focusing a lot on mental health wellness. we I've lost a lot of colleagues, I've lost very close friends, and most of the colleagues I've lost were not through natural causes. It was mostly to them taking their own life due to whatever circumstances they were going. What's important highlight is today, get to know the person, because we're all fighting our own demons, as we say.
this is true. Mm,
Everyone is happy and smiling, but
mm,
sit down with the person and
it's
get to
true,
know them.
true.
Get to know and let them open up to you. We got back from Turkey now in February. We took a search and rescue team. Alhamdulillah, they did amazing work in Turkey with
Mm,
our search and rescue team. We got back. I had a colleague. He arrived also with us. 2 days later, we do the counseling on the team. We do everything. 2 days later, our close friend Paul Hart, um, he sadly passed away.
mm,
And the thing is, you sit down and you think back to him and you say, could I have done something different?
mm,
Could I have assisted him? Could I have, spent more time with him? But when I looked at Paul in Turkey, he was the happiest person. Every night during debriefing, he used to come to me and say, Ahmed, you don't know what you've done to me.
mm,
These people have inspired,
mm.
you know. Can't we work a bit later? Can't we do this? I used to say, no, Paul, we guys worked most of the time. Tomorrow you need to rest as well. So coming back to that is, we need to recognize that mental health is so important. Spend time with them, spend time with our families, and actually assist these people and not stigmatize it again. You know
Mm,
how life has become. Oh, a person tells you he's depressed or he's not well. Oh, go get a job.
mm,
Oh,
mm, mm, mm,
he must be crazy. He
mm,
can't
mm,
work. Look
mm,
at him.
mm,
So sit down with
mm,
a
mm,
person. We all fighting our own battles. And I think that's the one side. On the other side, spirituality. Must
mm.
have spirituality. COVID has taught us to turn back to spirituality.
That connection with your
That
creator.
connection with your creator,
Mm,
that a small bug none of us could see
mm,
has changed the globe, totally changed it. It's
mm.
changed medicine, it's changed economies, it's changed the view on so many things in this world.
Changed our whole
Imagine our whole
psychological state.
psychological state. So
Mm,
I always say, spend time, especially with the people, especially going through these challenges. Go out there from our safety net that we in, because most of us sit in our nice safety environments.
mm,
We don't go out and see what's out there, what's
mm,
down the street
mm.
in terms
The other thing is when you do so many things. You were saying something that brought this up to me. How do you manage all these juggling of so many balls, right? Because many people say like there's just too much to do. There's so little time. Um, how do you manage time? That must be something that's quite unique to you.
Yeah, unfortunately, I know I'm a workaholic.
Yeah.
I won't lie to you on that. You can ask my families, they will tell you I am 24/7 working. But you have to manage your time.
Mm,
And what I've realized is I need to focus on Ahmed also.
mm,
I
mm,
need to have my time out. I need to, have my discussions. The the type of persons we are, the A-type personality type of persons,
mm,
we don't like having the counselings and
mm,
so.
mm,
But we need to reach out and be able to do that nowadays. We can be more effective
mm,
and
mm,
contribute more.
mm,
So a lot of things is I do running. I enjoy my swimming, and I make it that every single day I need to run. I need to just have that time to myself. However, I know once I'm running, I'm catching up on news and things like that while I'm running. But at least physically, I'm at my space in terms of it. And also, it's important to juggle between, the NGO side of things, as well as my personal side of things, as well as my work related. And then I have my hobby, which is healthcare solutions. That's my company that's running on its own. So things are a lot to do, but I do manage it and it's manageable. I've toned down a lot over the years now where I don't get involved in things for name or fame
mm,
or where I'm not going to contribute.
mm,
So a lot of boards which they wanted to appoint me or put me onto, I look at it first to say, am I going to contribute?
mm, mm,
Am I just there for name?
mm, mm,
And if I'm going to be for that, I don't want to be involved
mm.
into that. I rather focus on the aspects I can, give my 100% attention to them, than have multiple things and only contribute 5%. It doesn't work that way.
That ability to say no, eh? We grow up and we realize because otherwise we want to do everything for everybody. And I mean, it's just a natural inclination because you want to serve.
That's the thing. But
Yes,
on the other side, also, we have the aspect where we want to do things that I want to be on this board. I was here on this board. My name needs to be here, 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 here. But you haven't contributed anything, number one. And number two, sometimes it's not about the name and fame.
correct.
If you can contribute positively and really make a change,
Mm,
get involved. Because I say, if you're not just going to be there for the wrong reasons, rather don't be there.
mm.
Yeah.
So you're about to embark tomorrow with you were speaking a little bit before we took the break with the Special Olympics team.
Yeah, so Special Olympics, South Africa have been how they've made contact with me is through Gift of the Givers. Through the few years now, since 2018, we've been assisting them with hygiene, screening, and all of those aspects in health disciplines.
Mm,
But Special Olympics is also now why I got involved with them. A lot of spotlight is not given on these most amazing kids. They come from vulnerable communities from all parts of South Africa, but we only hear about the Olympic, Paralympics. We don't hear much of Special Olympics.
mm.
The Special Olympics South Africa has been here for a
So
few
the difference between
decades.
Special and Paralympics
It's
is
different.
okay,
So Special Olympics deals with kids with intellectual
okay, all right,
disabilities or
okay.
that capacities, where para will be
Is a
physical
physical,
disability,
right? Okay, got you.
And I'm just telling you, this last 2 days I spent with
Mm,
these kids. It's my first time going with them to Berlin, and I before we go, you have that camp like
mm,
any team would go, and you get to know the kids, so they can also be medically, who you take in, and just understand.
mm,
And I tell you, Yusuf, it's been amazing.
mm,
You just sit with these kids. They're taking part in
mm,
horse riding, golf. These kids come, the autistic kids. The ranges are from 16 to 40 years old. And you just see them ready, going to Berlin, going to represent us,
mm,
coming with these challenges, but taking part in soccer, volleyball,
mm,
basketball, table tennis. And you can just see how happy and how fulfilling this
mm,
has been. Some of the kids I interviewed quick were the first time in their life they got a passport,
mm,
the first time they're going on a plane.
mm,
So imagine what a change this makes, especially for kids with special needs,
mm,
because as we know, society normally we don't give that much attention to them and we think
mm,
they need extra special care.
mm. We'll come to the end of this segment. On that very humbling note, let's get to the last segment, and I want to talk a little bit about, what work you're doing internationally and the challenges internationally, and your future as well. So we'll catch Ahmed after the break. Welcome back to Inspirate Business. And I hope you have been enjoying as much as I have this intriguing conversation we've had with Ahmed Bham from the National Department of Health, who is a practitioner in the disaster management of health, emergency management, somebody who was reared into this through a major I would say, a traumatic experience losing your mom at such a young age, but it's a profound story that a paramedic that was at the time there in that accident where you lost your mom and took you as a sort of mentor, and that reared you into this world that you're in, that has led you now to various parts of the world. Started off in 2005, you said, with Dr. Imtiaz Suleiman. You can see the gift of the givers. That brand has become so synonymous now, colors and everything. It's an international brand. And I mean, you might have gone to different parts of the world. Syria, you said, Turkey, and so many more. Yemen, so many more. Um, but we in the country, you're also involved in public health. We have major challenges. The world is going through major challenges. And you were speaking about the mental health issues. I think it's also related to all our challenges. South Africa specifically, we've had major challenges prior to whatever's happened now with the corruption and so on. And you must be experiencing that even in the public sector. Maybe share a little bit about some of these challenges. We can't run away from them. We can't be naive to believe that they aren't these challenges. They're real. But also we can't be despondent. And many people feel that there are no solutions left. I, maybe you can share, especially in the public health side of things.
So from my experience in terms of the public health sector, I don't want to go back into a lot of things we do know, but to touch on a few is we have challenges in this
Mm,
country in all aspects.
mm,
From, I mean, our electrical challenges, if you look at that,
mm,
to all the different departments, there's always what's the key?
mm.
Corrupt.
Correct. Yeah.
That's a huge entity that's there. Everyone says yes, but this country doesn't have money, it doesn't have. We've got the funds actually.
Mm,
If you look at all these reports, or not state capture, but all these different, well, including state capture, I mean, and you look at all of that that's coming out from this, you can see what's the root. It's just the wrong people appointed in the wrong position and misusing. And it's very, very important for us to root out this corruption.
mm,
But on the other side as well, there's a lot of negativity. I'm not saying that everything's perfect,
mm,
but look at the good side also. We've got a functioning healthcare system. Some people might disagree with me, but I can take you to places physically and show you the positives as well.
mm,
We've
mm,
got that. We've got hospitals. We've got clinics. Part of my tasking is traveling. Once a week, I go to all 9 provinces every month. And where I see clinics coming up, and I see the services going to the people in the most rural areas that you wouldn't believe.
mm,
Just the basic services. Yes, there's challenges with specialities and things. But why is there challenges? Because we don't believe in ourselves.
mm,
Where is all our medical, I wouldn't say medical, rather say professionals gone?
mm,
We leave the country. We're
mm,
sitting all over the world. So if we don't believe in ourselves and contribute to our country and assist,
mm,
how is the country going to grow? Then a lot of questions will ask, yes, but then why are we bringing this specialist in, that specialist in? You must understand it's so technical.
mm,
So my message is, I know we've got issues and we need to deal with it, but
mm,
there's a lot of positives we need to look into this country.
mm,
And if each and every one of us can just be positive and contribute,
mm.
especially in the public health sector, it will really do a lot, because health is I always say the ECG of everything. It's the heart of
Of
everything. You
course.
can be the best businessman, you can have the best economy and things. But if you, as a human, I always say, if your heart is not correct and there's a problem, there is an issue.
Mm.
In economy, if the heart is not correct, we're going to have issues. That's going
Hasn't
to be
hasn't
the
COVID taught us that? I mean,
COVID has taught us that.
I
We need
heard
to overcome
stories.
that.
I heard stories of multimillionaires that said to doctors that they were prepared to pay them just to save their family members. Up front, they were paying them. The guy said, "That's so much I can do. There's nothing more."
It's funny you mentioned, I had that. I had people phone me to say, fly me into South Africa. I will pay 10 times the
Mm,
prices or so. But we said, no, we can't do these things. We
mm,
need to look after first the people who are here, and that's all we can do during this. And that you are spot on. That showed us that.
mm,
So my message is, believe in ourselves.
Mm. Mm.
Don't feel let this corruption overtake us. Let's
Mm.
fight it head on.
Mm.
Let's
Mm.
replace who we need to replace, and let's take it on head on. Because I'm going to make a very profound statement to you. You know, I'm privy to a lot of things
Mm.
in at my position in
Mm.
this way. And for me, as much as everyone looks at just the public sector or the government side,
Mm.
the private sector is just as guilty. Who's the beneficiaries of the corruption? Who's the beneficiaries of the fund?
Mm.
Does it go to who? So if the one doesn't want to receive and we work together and we stop it on both
Of
sides, it
course.
will work well.
Yes, of
All of
course.
the people you see
There's always a
benefited from
businessman
whom?
behind the politician, right? Yeah, yeah. It's just a
As
symbiotic relationship
it's a
internationally as well.
symbiotic, it's not
Yeah.
only South Africa,
Yes,
it's
of course,
everywhere, you
of
know.
course.
So if we,
Sadly,
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 it's the
sadly.
reality.
Mm.
But we don't want to spread too much negativity. Let's rather say positivity. Let's look at this country. Let's
Mm.
make it happen. You
And
can
I mean,
see,
you
let's
involved
drive
in the
things.
public sector, you involved with public officials, and there's a view that all public servants are corrupt, and it's not like that, right?
It's not like that. There's good police officers out there. There's
Mm.
good health people out there. There's good social development in all other aspects. There's good there. Unfortunately, there's also a lot of bad, and unfortunately, that bad is that maybe at quite a higher power that overrules those ones, you
Mm.
know.
Mm.
But there's good people there, and you can see even the drive from Imtiaz.
Mm.
You know, they're voting Imtiaz to be
Yes,
the
as
president. But you
president.
heard what he says as well.
Mm.
As much as he says, you know, the government, we have corruption, we need this. But he's also saying there's good people here.
Mm.
There's capable South Africans that can make a difference. And my message is let's take the reins head on and make that difference.
Mm.
I think that's the important thing. And also, let's recognize the good things our country has. I
Mm.
mean, there's a lot of good happening as well.
Mm.
Even we can say what we want, but from the government sector, we've achieved a lot
Mm.
from where we were, you know, and look at those aspects. And if each and every one of us can just start in our own house,
Mm.
in our own sector or ward or whatever, and assist the people there for the right reasons, imagine each and every one does that. Things will just
What
grow.
beautiful principles, you've just shared with us. This of what they term social activism, and these are again prophetic principles that it starts with us as
Starts with
individuals.
us.
What little bit we can do, whatever little bit we can do, just in our community. And
In our
everyone does that.
communication.
And that's where Gift of the Giver started. And this is where you said you got that message in Pakistan from that man that survived the earthquake. And he said, what? You just serve, but you serve with humility.
It's so important, and we start at home with our small village. And one thing to mention is we're unique. I won't lie.
Mm.
When I say we're unique, our South African teams, I always say, are the best in the world.
Mm.
And I say it because of experience and what I've seen. Our search and rescue medical teams, when they deploy anywhere in the world, they look at us, they see one Indian guy,
Mm.
one colored, one Muslim, one Jew, one Hindu,
Afrikaner guy.
Afrikaner guy, guy from the Cape Flats,
Yes.
all of them. But when they look at us, they say, who are you guys? And we say we're South African. They can't believe it because why? We transcend any boundary in terms of religion, culture, everything. Look at our country. We can
Mm.
practice any of our religions
Mm.
freely anywhere in the world, anywhere in, I mean, in the
Yes,
country.
yes, yes, yes.
You don't have this anywhere in
Mm.
the world. And you
It's
don't
true.
realize it until you travel out.
Mm.
You know, they always say the grass is greener that side.
Mm.
I know you know many friends who've told me they want to come back to South Africa.
Yeah.
It's not that green on the other side, you know. But I think those are just highlights that we need to actually just believe in ourselves and look at it also from that perspective and things. And obviously keep on making dua, spirituality is there.
Mm.
Conditions can only be changed
Mm.
by one person, one being.
Mm.
And I always say that that's the important aspect I'd like
We've
to
got a
say.
minute left.
Yeah.
Messages to youngsters out there watching, people that might be challenged at the moment. You said there's a lot of challenges since COVID. Some key pearls of wisdom that you can leave with our viewers as we wrap up the show.
No, most important is believe in yourself.
Mm.
Get involved in your communities for the right reasons. Assist where you can. And let's not only say let's assist this class of people or that class of people. Let's transcend over all the types of boundaries and just go out there and assist and just work with the principles that things are done through you and not by you. And Alhamdulillah, with just doing that and having that focus, you will see things will get better in terms of that, you know. I know a lot of times we make dua or we believe in certain aspects to say, I want this, it's not coming. But as we taught in our Quran as well, Allah only gives you
What
what's
you can.
good for you.
Yes.
And if it's not good for you, He doesn't give it to you. So you must just make shukr always that, you know, don't be disheartened. Never give up on that. For me, spirituality is the biggest connection. Start off there and just make that connection between you and Allah. I always say, I can wear the, it's not external, it's internal. For me, that's the spot on.
It's so
Most
true.
of the nicest guys I have won't be dressing in the most appropriate conditions or so. I'm just being open on
Yes.
that, you know.
Yes.
But what I've seen around the world is, yeah, it's amazing what people have done. The inside is more better than the outside.
On that very powerful, powerful principle, this of humanity at its best. It's about that human soul and that connection, no matter who you are. And we proudly South African, and you just use an example of using all the various facets of our society, from wherever you are, from the Cape Flats to the Afrikaner to the Xhosa, and we combine it all, and that's what makes us unique and really makes a difference in the world. And
No,
everyone that has said there has said the same thing that have traveled. They say South Africans have just got something unique to share to the world.
no, Alhamdulillah. I mean, my last closing thing is exactly that. Alhamdulillah, through my companies has also been good. Through my, Alhamdulillah, I mean, the business side of things, I know it's also a lot of a business show. That ethics and principles,
Mm,
a lot of the designs I've done all around the world from my business aspect to my company has also been like, you know what? If I don't want to, if I feel that I'm going to rob something or there's
mm,
any mischievous, I rather withdraw. I rather have less than do more and mess up integrity.
So on that, again, so many lessons: integrity, humility, and just serving. We hope that you've enjoyed this as much as I have, and hope to see you on many other shows. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.